This is Anthony Nunez with AMN Education, and today I'm going to talk about compound interest. So, how do I calculate when I or you will be a millionaire? This is a nice little question which hopefully inspires people to save more. But first, please subscribe to this channel if you find value in the content provided. And remember that this video was created for educational purposes. Please consult with your local professionals for any case-by-case financial advice or assistance. So, it's important when trying to save up to that magic number, the $1 million number, which sounds really good, that you have a bunch of goals. So, for example, maybe your first year goal is to save $1,000. And then 10 years out, maybe it's to have $25,000 saved. And then 20 years is 100,000. And by 40 years, you'll have that $1 million golden ticket that you've been saving up for. It's really important to set your goals, revisit your goals, see how you're doing with your goals. It's also important that you start early, save as much as possible, and learn new skills as you go, because society is constantly adjusting and you need to adapt with society by learning new skills. With those things in mind, if you're doing those things and you're saving money, you're going to let or enable compound interest to work for you. So here's a little website that I tend to use often to check how I'm doing financially and how I could possibly save more aggressively and what that would do for my long-term future outlook. So if you go to www.moneychimp.com, or if you simply Google compound interest calculator, Moneychimp is going to pop up, and it's a free tool which is great to use, and it has a formula where you can apply whatever current principal, which is whatever money you have in your account at the moment, annual addition, which is whatever money you plan to add to whatever account or vehicle you're using to increase your savings or money. Then you can put the years you have that you want it to grow. So how long do you expect that money to be in the account, and the interest rate. And then it'll calculate different things for you. So how long will it take for me for someone to get $1 million? Well, I figured we start off with a young kid, right? A young kid. I want to try to inspire more young teenagers or college kids to start saving as early as possible. So let's say a 20-year-old. 20-year-old probably is about to finish college or, done with high school, and they have zero in their account, $0. They might be negative with student loans and all the other stuff, but you have $0. What if that kid were to save $100 every week, which isn't even that crazy? $100, 52 weeks, that's $5,200 of annual addition to that account right here, annual addition. And let's say that you wanted to get $1 million by the time they turn 65. So at 20 years old, 65, you're going to have 45 years for this to grow. And then we're going to use a conservative interest rate. Let's say he can get 5% interest, which historically the stock market has blown that out the water. So if you're putting it into stocks, you're probably going to get more than that anyways. You might get that on the dividend of some stocks. That's how low or conservative this number is. But let's work with it. That's easy number, 5%. Okay? What would this equal? So when we do the math, or when you let Moneychimp do the math for you, it gets to $871,000, basically $872,000. Now that's not enough. So what could this young person do if at 20 years old, they're determined that by 65, they want to be a millionaire, right? They like the number. They know it's significant in modern society. So what could they do? What about $6,000? Just a little bit more. So, some weeks you're going to put a little bit more than $100 in there, but by the end of the year, you're going to have $6,000 in that account, adding in every single year for 45 years, which $6,000 in the grand scheme of things, is not that much. Well, look, we've surpassed with $6,000. We've now gone above. If you look down here where it says the results, the future value, by the time you're 65, it will be above $1 million. $6,000. That's all. I mean, even parents should be able to help out here. If you see your kids going through school and doing everything they have to do in a positive way, right? We're not helping them out if they're going in a negative route. But if they're doing what they got to do, you can start them off at 20 years old, push them to save $6,000 a year, and by 65, they will have $1 million. Simple math, Moneychimp, compound interest calculator. However, what if, you partied hard from 20 to 30, and you only have from 30 to 65 to save up. So you took off 10 years. Well, if you max out your retirement at 30 years old, which the current max is $18,500, then you too will surpass and be closer to $2 million than $1 million. So even at 30 years old, if you just buckle down and max out your retirement, you'll surpass $1 million. And that's with a conservative interest rate of 5%. I know many people in real estate earning 25, 20%. They won't even do deals if it's not more than 15% that they expect to make on a property. So 5% is really fairly easy so far in history. So is $1 million enough? How can we account for inflation? Because $1 million today won't be the same as $1 million 45 years from now. So how do we account for inflation? Well, we know that inflation is 2 to 3% on any given year. That's about the average. So a lot of financial people would agree that it's somewhere between 2 and 3% on a normal basis. So why don't we use that number and settle right in the middle, 2.5, and see what we can do. So $1 million with nothing else being added to it, because we're trying to figure out what's going to be worth, let's say 35 years from now. You're that 30-year-old guy. You want to know what that $1 million is going to be worth. With a 2.5 interest is calculating for inflation. Well, 35 years from now, for you to be able to have the same buying power of $1 million, you would need $2,373,000. That's a lot. But that means that you're constantly going to have to be making adjustments to the way you save and your investments so that you are maximizing your output. Okay? That means adapting, learning new skills. I'm constantly trying to learn new skills. And I think it's a positive thing for all of us to do in our fields. What are some factors to consider when doing long-term planning? So do you have a pension? Well, if your pension is going to give you $50,000 a year, then guess what? You're living off of, if you were living off $1 million interest, you just made a huge dent on that because the pension is now assisting you. Do you own real estate? Well, if you bought real estate at the age of 30, right? By the time you're 60, if you took a 30-year mortgage, you'll be free and clear. You won't owe any money, and you're just paying the taxes. So even though you might be making less money, you'll have more money to spend because you don't have the cost of a home. Do you have a retirement account? So we use the compound interest tool with Moneychimp, and are you investing in your retirement account? Are you maxing out? If you're working with a private company, are you meeting or reaching the total employee match, right? If they're matching you $5,000, are you hitting that $5,000? Do you have savings or money outside of your IRA? IRAs can be a little tricky because if you want to tap into them before you're a certain age, that you might get hit with penalties or fees. So do you have something outside of the IRA in addition to your retirement account, just in case if you wanted to retire early? All right, these are all some things to consider, but as you can see, if you start early and you save as much as possible, you could be a millionaire. You could have whatever number you want, and you can calculate it using Moneychimp's compound interest calculator. I hope you found this video useful. If you have, please subscribe to the channel and send me comments and suggestions. This video was created for educational purposes, so please consult with your local professionals for any case-by-case financial advice. Thank you.